Today's prospect spotlight is Nate Danielson. I've seen him a ton on mock drafts. In that 6 or 12 spot, he's a 6'1" center for the Brandon Wheat Kings of the WHL, 185, that big kind of player that we know Bill Armstrong likes. What are your thoughts?
He's another guy that you don't know, and you hear this a lot at this time of year when a guy's listed as a center. Is he going to play center in the NHL? And first of all, I don't know how they project that out. Like we said, Clayton Keller was drafted as a centerman, and he became a wing real quick. And Nate Danielson might be a guy, even though he's a bigger guy, you might see Nate Danielson also moving to the wing in the NHL. One of the things about Nate Danielson, he's another guy that can skate. He's a guy that's got some, he can transport the puck up the ice. One of the things he does in Brandon is he gets the puck up the ice on the power play. With his size and his skill, I think you're going to see, I don't think Nate Danielson will be there at 12. He might, but on the prospect list we talked about their needs, Nate Danielson for Brandon at his size and his ability, and he can do a little bit of everything. I'm not sure that's what the Coyotes are looking for at 12.
Interesting.
And I don't think he'll be there after that.
Okay. Well, obviously we're not the draft experts. We turn to the draft experts for their analysis, and Chris Peters said he's good at the face-off dot. His size and skating ability is good enough for him to remain a good option down the middle long term.
There you go.
And he projects him as a middle six center for a team going forward.
Yeah, that's what I've heard when I talk to people do that middle six. But one thing, Leah, we talk about when you need to win, you need somebody to fill those middle six roles. Like you have to have guys that can play second and third line.
Yeah.
And we've talked about McBain might be the prototypical fourth line center. Maybe Nate Danielson's a third line center.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah. I like this comment from Roaring Fork. CHL prospects are the most frustrating simply because they play in the CHL. It is interesting to look at how the landscape of, like it used to be, you look at the first round, it's like everybody plays in the CHL. And now you're looking at all these NTDP guys, all these college players. The Europeans are really making a name for themselves. It's just really interesting to see the evolution of where the draft pools are coming from. And it used to be like when I grew up in Canada, it was like, wow, like you go to the CHL, but now we're seeing Canadians go to college and choosing that route. So it's just the landscape of the route for players has been really fascinating to follow. But and also there's the issue of the CHL NHL agreement that prevents players from being able to go to the AHL. That's something that the college players have that the CHL players don't. I don't know how much that factors into any decision, but it is just a note.
But I think there's a couple things, and you know, Nate Danielson plays in the Western League, and I think that even across Canada, the leagues are different. You always think of the Quebec League that's the skill league and the high point league, and the Western League's a little more grinding hockey. So you think of it that way. But I think what's changed, the CHL players are still premier players. Yeah. They are. But I think what's happened is the NDP and the American player, that program has really accelerated the development of American-born players, and the NDP program is why you're seeing these guys get drafted so high. And that, includes like Austin Matthews. You see and Clayton Keller. You see the development of the American kids. They throw them all in the same basket, and they help that group of 20. With the CHL, it's a massive league there's so many kids playing in Canada. Can you imagine if you met like the NDP, if you do that in Canada? I can't even imagine what kind of a team you'd produce doing that consistently. So I think that these other countries have, you're developing the players differently than maybe you did in the past. And I think the Americans are just catching up with that part of it. But anyway, I think Nate Danielson's a guy to be aware of. I don't see him being a Coyote.
I just want everyone to write down every time code anytime PD makes a claim so that we can
because watch him pick, but the 6th pick overall they take.
When they run the tape, the Coyotes might even clip this to use as like a...
Yeah, like PD, you're an idiot.
Yeah.